What's going on, ATH? Welcome to episode 4 of Becoming an All-Terrain Human. And in this episode, we are going to give you 3 awesome glute exercises to help protect your lower back so you can also take your performance to the next level. The glutes are the powerhouse of your body, and for many people, they are very, very underdeveloped. The reason they're underdeveloped is because we spend so many hours sitting these days, and when you sit, you cut off blood flow to the glutes, you inhibit those nerves. So in this video, we're going to give you 3 awesome exercises to get those glutes firing again so you can protect your lower back, help out your knees, and just be able to take your performance to the next level. So if you're ready to develop some awesome hip abductors and extensors, then let's get into it.
Exercise 1, banded kettlebell RDLs. These train hip extension in the upright position, which is going to help translate to better glute function while walking, running, jumping, and much more. These will train primarily your glute max, which is going to help take tons of pressure off your lower back.
All right, exercise 1, we're in a little bit different view than you're used to. This is your banded kettlebell RDL. This is going to be a great one to work on hip extension, just like we drive into the ground when we're running. That is hip extension, right? Or walking, simple as walking. It all involves hip extension, and we want those glutes to be firing so you're not overloading that lower back. So we have a jump stretch band. If you don't have one of these, get one. They're very versatile. This is one of the heavier resistance. If you feel this exercise in your lower back, that usually means it's too much resistance, and it also means you need to make yourself have some stronger glutes. So let's go over this exercise. So you're gonna attach that jump stretch band to the rig or some type of pole. And then we have it right slightly below your greater trochanter, which is just a fancy word for the your side hip bone, right? Your hip bone on the side where you feel that bony nubbing on your side. There we go, we'll go with that. And then you're going to grab a kettlebell or some type of dumbbell, and we're going to do what is our RDL. So it's almost kind of like a stiff leg deadlift, but we have a slight knee bend. And so what we have is that when we go down, the shin is straight. So that's what makes it an RDL, and we keep the hips high. What we don't want to see is the hips go down like so and turn into a squat. We keep the hips high, so we really, really load up that posterior chain and the glutes. And now, when she comes through, you can see that she has to drive into that band, which is driving that hip extension. So with the band, we have some added resistance. We're training the glutes. We drive through and squeeze as hard as you can. Full hip lockout. Don't leave those hips short, all the way out. And what I want you to do today, you're going to do this one to fatigue. The glute max is a slow twitch muscle, and it requires training to fatigue to really develop it. So you're gonna do 2 sets till your glutes are on fire. And that is your banded kettlebell RDL.
Exercise 2, the banded side plank clamshell. Again, these ones are a twofer. They help train glute medius stability and endurance, as well as hip external rotation, which will help take the load off those knees.
All right, exercise 2 today is our banded side plank clamshells. We have a band for this one, very, very light. Any type of band you use, we have a jump stretch band. Any type of band you use, make sure it is light. We love this one. We're training multiple aspects of the glutes, lateral motion, which is the weakest spot or weakest movement of the human body. So let's go ahead, put the band over our knees, and let's start training those hip abductors. So we're gonna get down onto the ground. We're gonna get into this side plank position. Make sure your hips are stacked square over top of the ground, feet are stacked over top of the ground. Then we have the knees at this 45-degree angle, which is very imperative to the success of this exercise. So we don't want the knees up too high, like so, and we don't want them too straight. And right at 45 degrees, then we're going to lift the hips up. So many people are inclined to the first time they do this to also lift their knees and hips up at the same time. We want the knees down. Other hand is down on the ground supporting, And then what we are going to do is open our knees like a clamshell, and we want to feel this on that upper back portion region of the glutes. That means we're working that glute medius, we're in those external rotators. So another thing that we're trying to focus on is not letting this hip dip, okay? We want that hip up. And then what this is doing, we are getting a isometric on those glutes, that glute med. We're getting some stability endurance, and which is going to be very good for everything like running, things like that. And then last, point of performance. Don't let the hips roll open too much like this. Keep them slightly stacked, almost slightly pointed down, rolling that hip open, feeling that glute work. Both sides, you should feel those glutes fatiguing. What I want you to do today is 2 sets of 10. And once you're done that, on to the next exercise.
Exercise 3, the reverse step lunge. This is a good one to tie it all together. It requires your hip stabilizers to work in sync and helps increase your hip mobility since you're going down to a deeper range. More mobility and stability, can't beat that.
All right, exercise 3, the final one to piece it all together is our reverse step deficit lunge. So we have a little bit of equipment, we have 2 dumbbells, and we have something that we can create a deficit, and you're gonna step back off of. So it can be a small step, or you can have a plate like so, or just something that you can stack only about 4 to 6 inches off the ground. So for this exercise, right, we've done hip abduction with the clamshells, and we've done hip extension, and now we're going to piece those hip stabilizers like we talked about. And what that does when we're in this lunge, your adductors and your glutes stabilize the hip in congruency. So we are going to teach them to fire at the same time. So anytime you're doing single leg work, like lunges, you are actually having those adductors and those abductors stabilize your hips, set your hip up properly for the exercise. So let's go ahead, get into it, give you some points of performance so you can start training those glutes and increasing your performance. So she's gonna step onto the platform like so. And when we're doing this, we are going to step back into the lunge simultaneously. We're gonna go back, and we're gonna go all the way down to the ground. We wanna get that knee down to the ground. And so we don't wanna segment it. We don't wanna step back and then go down like so, right? One nice, smooth motion, and then coming straight up and out, making this glute work, okay? Then we wanna get that depth, and we're gonna go into the bottom to show you why it's important. So as you can see, we are getting this hip crease above, or we're getting this knee crease above that hip crease, which mimics a deep squat. So we are increasing our range of motion. So if you aren't used to squatting deep, this is a great way to increase your mobility and stability at the exact same time, which will make those mobility gains happen a lot faster and stay there and be a lot more permanent. Let's see if she can get back up. There you go. All right, so that is your reverse step deficit lunge. You're gonna do 2 sets of 8 today. She is 25 pounds. Do something that you can do in good form, but still get a little bit of fatigue. If it's too heavy and you're going side to side on the knee, and we're stumbling all over the place, backwards, it's too heavy, go down. And that is your reverse step deficit lunge. Try it out. All right, all-terrain humans, there are 3 glute exercises you can start to crush right now, and I cannot express enough how priceless it is to have well-developed glutes. It's going to protect your body and increase your longevity in things like running, swimming, cycling, lifting, you name it, it will help your performance across the board. So if you liked that video, give us a thumbs up, and in the comments below, let us know what your go-to breakfast is, whether that's Frosty Flakes or eggs and bacon. Let us know, put it in the comments, and lastly, don't forget to click subscribe so you don't miss a single episode of Becoming an All-Terrain Human. And until next time, go out there and continue to make the world your playground.